This is Neo Ratno Rock Doc here on WDST Radio Woodstock with another episode of This Week in Rock, stories from the soundtrack of our lives. Musician, singer, and songwriter Denny Laine, best known as a founder of two major rock bands, the Moody Blues and Wings, celebrated his 78th birthday this past week. So today, I thought I'd tell you a few things about Denny Laine that you might not know. And as usual, a little background first. As a young boy in grammar school, Laine took up the guitar, inspired by the gypsy guitarist Django Reinhardt. Denny gave his first solo performance at the age of 12 and began his career as a professional musician a few years later, fronting the band Denny Laine and the Diplomats.
Well, I did have my own band, Diplomats, and we were quite big in Birmingham. About number five, five big bands, we were one of them. And I wanted them to move to London because I knew that's where the business was. You know, there's no business in Birmingham, which is the Midlands, which is 100 miles north. And my band actually didn't want to turn professional.
Denny Laine's bandmates didn't share his ambition, so the young singer-guitarist found new bandmates.
We formed this blues band called the M&B 5, believe it or not. The name was from a beer company called Mitchells and Butlers. That's how romantic it is, folks. So that all fell through, but it became the Moody Blues eventually. So we went to London, we got discovered actually, we went to London, and that was it really. Go Now was the big hit that we had. And that was as a result of doing our very first English tour with Chuck Berry. We backed him up, he actually used my amplifier. And that was that, then it went up the chart.
Since you gotta go,
We had our own sound, and that was what was ideal. We actually had a piano. Most bands didn't have a piano at the time. So we had that sound. We were very influenced by American music, that's all, and we wanted to do what the Beatles had done, you know. We actually did the second Beatles British tour. We became friends with the Beatles.
In December 1966, after leaving the Moody Blues, Laine formed the Electric String Band, which featured himself on guitar and vocals, Trevor Burton of The Move also on guitar, Viv Prince, formerly of Pretty Things, on drums, and Binky McKenzie on bass guitar and electrified strings, in a format not dissimilar to what Electric Light Orchestra would later achieve. However, success eluded them, and by the early 70s, Laine realized that he needed to go in another direction. In the meantime, the Beatles had broken up, and his good buddy Paul McCartney was also in need of something new. And as Laine explains, being a close friend of Paul's was one of the primary reasons that McCartney chose him and had the confidence to start a new band.
Yeah, because he knew me.
Right.
See, if he picked someone else who he didn't know, he probably wouldn't have felt so comfortable to do something like that, which is to start again.
Yeah.
So don't forget that because of all that Let It Be situation and the Beatles and Alan Klein and whatever, Peter Asher at that time was working with them too.
Yep.
Oh, I'm still friendly with now. They didn't know what the hell they were going to do next, you know. So Paul was kind of sitting there in Scotland going, oh, let's have a few drinks, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I helped him to come out of that as he helped me to come out of what I was doing. See, because my band was, all right, they're string players. They were touring the world in orchestras and stuff. So I didn't have that much freedom with that. But I'd already established myself with it. But I really wasn't, you know, going that far ahead. And I thought, well, if I get together with him, well, I didn't think this. It was just a natural thing. I knew that if I got together with Paul, that we'd come up with something that suited us both, you know, at that time.
Laine provided lead and rhythm guitars, lead and backing vocals, keyboards, bass guitar, and woodwinds, in addition to writing or co-writing some of the group's material. Denny and the McCartneys were the nucleus of the band and were reduced to a trio twice, during the making of the most acclaimed Wings album, Band on the Run, and during the writing of the songs for the album London Town. With Wings, Denny enjoyed his biggest commercial and critical success, which included co-writing with McCartney the song Mull of Kintyre, which became a #1 hit in the UK. But by 1981, Denny's relationship with McCartney had become strained. Laine had begun to feel that he was not being adequately compensated for his role in Wings, and was particularly bitter that he was employed as a contract writer on Mull of Kintyre. Laine had been paid a flat fee for his contributions, so when the song became a hit, he did not share in the royalties. And in April 1981, Denny announced he was leaving Wings, which effectively ended the band. Laine continues to record and perform as a solo artist, and in 2018, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of the Moody Blues. Go Now was an obscure soul single released in 1964 by Bessie Banks. According to Laine, it came in one of those suitcases full of records from America. This guy, James Hamilton, he was a friend of the DJ B. Mitchell Reed, and he would send this stuff across. So I picked that one out especially because Mike Pinder was a piano player, and we did Go Now because it was a song with a piano in it. Okay, let's listen. With Denny Laine on guitar and lead vocal, the Moody Blues, and Go Now.